Hello students, this is Mrs. Sonal Patil, lecturer in biology, KLS Goptepu College of Commerce and Science, Tirkwadi, Belgaum. We had begin in the last class with the chapter 1, that is the living world, in which we discussed about features of living organisms, which is a very important question to be asked in the exam for 3 marks or for 5 marks. Today we will discuss about diversity in living world. If you look around, you will see a large variety of living organisms, be it potted plants, insects, birds, your pets or other animals and plants. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observations in, the range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kinds of living organisms in it. Each different kind of plant, animal or organism that you see represents a species. So, the number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million, and this refers to biodiversity, or the number and types of organisms present on earth. So, biodiversity or diversity in the living world is the occurrence of organisms different in structure, size, color, mode of living and habitats. Each different kind of plant, animal or organism represents a different species. There are millions of plants and animal species, as I told you, present in the world. Every year, many new species are discovered. All existing species are descendants of the past organisms that existed on earth. New species develop due to evolution or modification of the pre-existing forms. A number of organisms are too small to be seen with the naked eye. They are microscopic because they can be observed only with the help of microscope. Example is Chlamydomonas, yeast, etc. On the other hand, there are very large sized organisms, example whale, eucalyptus, which is more than 100 meters tall. Further, organisms live in water, inside soil as herb, shrub, tree, parasite, epiphyte, saprophyte, autotroph, holozoic, etc. So, this is telling you about the diversity in the living world. Here it has been shown a large different kinds of organisms. So, there are millions of plants and animal species present in the world, and we know about them by their local names or languages. But as we know, these local names or languages would vary from place to place, even within a country or a state. Probably it would lead to confusion in identifying such organisms. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms in such a way that a particular organism is known to all by the same name all over the world, which is called nomenclature. So as I told you, there are millions of plants and animals which are present in the world, and we know them by their local names. So these local names vary from place to place or within a country or within the state. So there is a need for what? For naming these living organisms in such a way that that particular organism should be named by the same name all over the world, and this naming of organism is called as nomenclature. So it is called as, so naming of the organism is the nomenclature. So nomenclature is, it is a system of giving a distinct name of every organism. There are two types of names, as I told you, local name and the scientific name. Hence, biologists have established the procedure to assign the scientific name to a living organism which is acceptable all over the world based on principles and criteria which are provided by International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, that is ICBN, and International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Mark this question important. Expansion of this may be asked, ICBN and ICZN. So ICBN is International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, and ICZN stands for International Code. It is international, AL is missing over there, so it is International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Hence, the scientific name ensures that each organism has only one name throughout the world, so that such a name has not been used for any other organism. Therefore, biologists have accepted binomial nomenclature. So to facilitate the study, number of scientists have established this particular system called as binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature, it is a scientific method of naming an organism by two names. First name refers to genus and second name refers to species. So in the binomial name, the first name is the genus and the second is the species. It is a system of providing distinct and proper two-word scientific name to organisms. Binomial nomenclature was introduced by Carolus Linnaeus. So this naming system given by Carolus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system using a two-word format was found convenient, and this binomial nomenclature avoids confusions arised by vernacular names. It is universal recognition to the individual organism. Principles and criteria used for binomial nomenclature have been framed by ICBN and ICZN. So rules are being framed for the binomial nomenclature. Very important are the rules of binomial nomenclature. The first rule says each organism is given a distinct name having two components, a generic name and species name. So every organism is having a biological name having two components, a generic name and the species name. This is the first rule. Second rule is the first word in the biological name represents the genus, while second component denotes the specific epithet. So the first word represents or denotes the genus, while the second component denotes the specific epithet or the species name. Thirdly, the biological names are generally in Latin and printed in italics. A generic name is always a noun, begins with capital letter, while specific name is adjective, begins with small letter. So remember, generic name is always a noun, it will begin with the capital letter, while specific name is an adjective, begins with the small letter. Manually written names should be underlined. When we are writing the names manually, both genus and species name should be separately underlined. The name of the author who described the species is also written in abbreviation after specific name. So, the author who has described the particular species, his name should be written in abbreviation after the specific name. So, these are the rules for naming the organism, or they are the rules of binomial nomenclature. A very important question again for 3 marks or 5 marks, it will be asked in the exam. So, the first rule, again I repeat, each organism is given a distinct name having 2 components, a generic name and species name. Secondly, the first word in a biological name represents genus, while second component denotes the specific epithet or the specific name. The biological names are generally in Latin and printed in italics. So, when they are printed, they have to be printed in italics. Fourth, a generic name is always a noun, begins with a capital letter, while specific name is adjective, begins with a small letter. Fifth, manually written names should be underlined separately. Separately is not been printed here. Please mention these names are to be underlined separately. So, the genus should be separately underlined when it is manually written, and species should be separately underlined. Sixth, the name of the author who described the species is also written in abbreviation after specific name. To quote with the example Mangifera indica Linn. Since the Linnaeus has discovered, so the name is given as Mangifera indica, and in abbreviation Linn is given. It indicates that this species name was first described by Linnaeus, and hence in this manner the name is been written. Here are few binomial nomenclature of some common plants and animals. Common names are given, and the binomial nomenclature, the scientific names are given. So, coming to the plants, pea plant, common name is pea plant, whereas scientific name is Pisum sativum. Onion, Allium cepa. Mango, Mangifera indica. Wheat, Triticum aestivum. Banyan tree, Ficus bengalensis. Soybean, Glycine max. Animals, in animals, these are few examples been given to you all. Frog, Rana, Hexadactyla. Cat, Felis domestica. Dog, Canis familiaris. Housefly, Musca domestica. Cobra, Naja naja. Common crab or fish, that is Cyprinus carpio. So, these are few scientific names been given for you all. So, just remember the rules of binomial nomenclature, how the naming of the organism and how the rules are being followed while writing the scientific name, which is very important for you all to remember for the exams. So, this is about the binomial nomenclature. Today we will stop here, and in our next class we will begin with the next part of the chapter. So, today we discussed about diversity in the living world, in which we have studied about the nomenclature. What is nomenclature, what how the identification has been done and how the naming of the organism is been done, and then we have studied about the binomial nomenclature. We have studied about the rules of binomial nomenclature, which are very, very important. So, we will stop here. Thank you.